Hello and a very warm welcome to our special edition, the Question Hour show from the Parliament House complex, the show where we bring you important unstart questions of the members of the upper house. I'm Kriti Mishra and joining me is my colleague Rajat Kain.
Well, thanks Kriti and thanks to our viewers for watching this edition of Questionnaire. We hope you're doing good and are safe in the times of coronavirus pandemic.
Absolutely, Rajat. But Rajat, as you know, that questionnaire is a very important tool of parliamentary democracy because it gives an opportunity to the members of both houses of parliament, the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha, an opportunity to seek or elicit answers from the government as ministers are collectively responsible or accountable to the legislature. There are different types of questions: the start questions, the unstart questions, and the short notice questions. Start questions are those questions of which answers are given on the floor of the House orally.
And the other category of questions are the unstart questions, where answers are deemed to be laid on the table of House after the end of the proceedings by the department or the ministry concerned.
And this show of ours will focus particularly on the unstart questions, of which the answers are given by the government in written format in the last session of Parliament or the last session of the Rajya Sabha. Rajat, now let's begin the show. And the first question in this edition is from member Dr. Vikas Mahatme, and this question pertains to the Ministry of Women and Child Development. And Dr. Mahatme has asked the government whether it has started digitization of data pertaining to Anganwadi centers across the country for effective monitoring.
With the response, the ministry said the Anganwadi service has a monitoring system competent to track the physical progress of scheme in respect of various input, process, output and impact indicators for standardized management information system through regular reports on monthly, quarterly and half-yearly basis. Now, to strengthen the monitoring of Anganwadi service scheme, revised MIS known as ICDS Rapid Reporting System has also been introduced for capturing the data of Anganwadi centers online. Now, under the ICDS RRS, that is the Rapid Reporting System, each Anganwadi scheme is assigned 11-digit unique code and login password that has been allotted at its supervisor level to submit the monthly progress report. In addition, the digitization of physical registers have been taken up with rollout of ICDS Common Application Software under Poshan Abhiyan of Ministry of Women and Child Development. The ICDS CAS mobile-based software enables identification of underweight children based on auto-plotting of the growth charts. The drill-down dashboard available at national, state, district and even block level contributes towards identifying and addressing the problem of nutrition.
And Rajat, in the era of social distancing, Dr. Vikas Mahatme joined us through virtual platform, and this is what he had to say on government's response to his query. Take a look. And joining us on the Question Hour show is Rajya Sabha MP Dr. Vikas Mahatme. Dr. Mahatme, welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, and thank you so much for joining us through this virtual platform.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
So normally I remember interacting with you in Parliament, but those were different days. It's a different era that we are living in now. But talking about the Question Hour show that we've started, sir, and about an important question, important unstart question that you asked during the last session of Parliament or during the last session of Rajya Sabha was about Anganwadi workers. Tell us how important is the issue?
What was your question?
So tell us how important is the issue. You'd asked a very pertinent question about Anganwadi workers.
The question is very important because, as you know, the malnutrition among the children is there. And Anganwadi workers, there are many indicators are there. The malnutrition in the children, around 25% have stunted growth. Really, we have done well as far as infant mortality rate is concerned, and under 5 mortality rate is concerned. We have done very well. We have to do good in gender inequality also. But this malnutrition has many criteria, and it is very difficult to get it executed. And to get it executed, it is always better to have some use of information technology, and all those criteria will be filled up by the Anganwadi worker. Then only it will be possible. So that was the question which I asked, whether that has been utilized, and is it functioning well? Because implementation and execution is the most important part as far as Anganwadi workers and the service providing is concerned. So that is the importance.
So there was another important feature of your question, which was about digitization of records. What
Yeah.
can the government do
What
about
happened?
this?
Yes. What happened? The previous records also should be digitized so that we can have a comparison. And now in Maharashtra, you can say the out of 1,10,000 Anganwadi, nearly 1,09,000 have already been digitalized, and previous record is also been put on the platform. It is single platform, which is ICDS CAS. ICDS means, as you know, it is regarding Poshan Abhiyan, and common application software. It's a common application software is there. So with this, we can have better nutrition will be provided, and every day we can monitor monthly, trimesterly, and yearly the program. And that is what is the most important advantage of this system, that once the monitoring is good, automatically improvement will be there in implementation. That is the most important. And in Maharashtra, the utility is nearly 99%.
Sir, how do we implement this system in other parts of the country?
Actually, it is in the same way, really. Only difficulty will be accepting the means this software. So it has to be the workers, Anganwadi workers should be trained to use that, as well as the training. After training also they need a hand holding that has to be provided, then only this will be feasible. And I think this is one of the great achievement that has been done in this application, means implementing this CAS, common application software. So that will provide throughout the country same platform, as well as we will be able to compare. And what is the most important is malnutrition. 25% of the children have a stunted growth, and once the stunted growth is there, afterwards it becomes difficult to get into the whatever we have competition today. They lag behind in every way. So it is better to take care of these children at the young age through this software.
Absolutely, sir.
MIS,
What is your suggestion
management
to the government?
information system,
Yes.
that is use of management. Yeah.
What is your suggestion to the government, sir, in this regard?
I think it has already been implemented, and now the focus should be on malnutrition and the nutrition or the portion. What is, we can say, positive effect, that the portion. On this, we should target that the nutrition is provided to every child. What is the crux is it is not that it is not there in the highly elite group, also malnutrition is there in the children, because the whatever the belief system is there as far as nutrition is concerned. I tell you, in my village, if diarrhea is there, they'd say no, no, don't give anything to eat, and anything also, what the water also, because he gets diarrhea after that. So it itself, this belief system itself creates a hurdle in treatment. So this belief system has to be changed, and Anganwadi workers are the only workers who can do this effectively, because they are reaching to the people. And I think if we focus on this, automatically what we say, that the demographic dividend, if we want dividend, we have to invest in this nutrition of the children. Then only, unless and until you invest, you cannot get the dividend. So let us invest in nutrition, Poshan Ahar, and effectively manage this through this MIS, and then we can have a very good nutrition, as well as the demographic dividend we will achieve in a great reality.
But the fact also remains, sir, that a lot of awareness also has to be created.
Of course, awareness has to be created, but who will create that awareness? Awareness cannot be created by the top level people. Top level people will train the Anganwadi workers. And Anganwadi workers will only be able to convince those the ground level or the parents. So that is why, especially the mother, and that is why there will be criterias. And once the criterias are fixed, I think with that we will be able to monitor. Suppose the weight of a child is less, automatically it will be reported, and once reported we will take an action. What is the challenge? And that challenge will be tackled. Once we know where is the problem, which child is malnourished, then we can individualize the management. That is the advantage of this system.
Absolutely. That's a very valid point that you're making, sir. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing those details with us, and also sharing the response that you have for the government's answer given to your question. Thank you so much for speaking to Rajya Sabha
Thank you.
television, Dr. Mathur.
So moving on to next question that was asked by member R. Vaithilingam from Ministry of Home Affairs. The member asked whether it's a fact that government is considering to focus on building disaster resilient infrastructure to minimize the loss of precious lives and property.
Responding to this query, the government says that the launch of Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, or CDRI, has been announced by Prime Minister at the United Nations Climate Action Summit in New York on 23rd of September 2019. CDRI is a global partnership of national governments, United Nations agencies and programs, multilateral development banks and finance mechanisms, the private sector, economic and knowledge institutions that aim to promote the resilience of infrastructure systems to climate and disaster risks, thereby ensuring sustainable development. The government further says that the mission of the CDRI is to support countries, including India, to upgrade their systems to ensure disaster and climate resilience of existing and future infrastructure through its program, while fully aligning with the Sustainable Development Goals, the Paris Climate Agreement, and also the framework for disaster risk reduction. And moving on to the next question that has been asked by member D. Kain Reddy, and this question pertains to the Ministry of Labour and Employment. And Mr. Reddy has asked the government whether new pension schemes meant for unorganized sector workers and traders that is under implementation.
When replying to query, the ministry said the Government of India has introduced two voluntary and contributory pension schemes, that is Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana, that's one, the pension scheme for unorganized workers, and secondly, National Pension Scheme for traders and self-employed persons. Now, under Section 3(1) of Unorganized Workers Social Security Act 2008 to provide old age protection to them. Now, the schemes envisage for providing minimum assured monthly pension of 3,000 after attaining the age of 60. If the subscriber dies, the spouse beneficiary shall be entitled to receive 50% of the pension as a family pension. The family pension is applicable only to spouse. The monthly pension contribution ranges from Rs 55 to just 200, depending upon the entry age of the beneficiary. Now, Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana is meant for old age protection and social security of unorganized workers who are mostly engaged as rickshaw pullers, street vendors, midday meal workers, head loaders, brick kiln workers, cobblers, rag pickers, domestic workers, washermen, home-based agricultural workers, construction workers, beedi workers, handloom workers, leather workers, audiovisual workers, or in any other similar professions or occupations. There are estimated 42 crore such unorganized workers across the country. The entry age of the beneficiary is 18 to 40 years, and he and she should be a member of ESIC or EPFO or an income tax payer. Well, next question was asked by member Dr. Satyanarayan Jatia from Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. The member asked to what extent the policy of providing LPG connection to every household towards cooking meals and keeping environment clean has been implemented.
Well, Rajat, this answer was given during the last session of Parliament, and of course, by now the figures would have gone up. But let's see what the government replied at that point in time. And the government said that in order to provide clean cooking fuel and keep the environment clean, the government had launched Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana on 1st of May 2016 to provide 8 crore deposit-free LPG connections to poor households. The government has achieved the target on 7th of September 2019, 7 months ahead of the target date. At present, national LPG coverage is about 96.9%. Further, release of LPG connections is a continuous process. LPG distributors are under instructions to immediately register any requests for new LPG connection, and OMCs, that is oil market companies, endeavour to release the same within 7 working days as per the eligibility and also after following the due process. And moving on to the next question, which pertains to the Ministry of Steel, and this one has been asked by member CM Ramesh, and the question is on national steel policy.
Well, replying to the query, the ministry said the steel industry is a deregulated sector. Indian steel companies take their own decision based on the commercial and market dynamics. Now, government has brought National Steel Policy 2017, domestically manufactured iron and steel products policy and steel scrap policy, which have encouraged domestic steel usage in government procurement, and also notified quality control orders to stop import of substandard steel into the country. Now, similarly, anti-dumping duties and countervailing duties have also been imposed to curb unfair trade practices in steel import. Well, moving on to last question of this edition of the show, the question was asked by member Dr. Prabhakar Kore from Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. The member sought whether it's a fact that there is a serious demand for paid old age homes in the country.
While giving response to this question, the government says that ministry does not support any paid old age home and therefore no such data is maintained in the ministry. However, the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment is implementing a central sector scheme of integrated program for senior citizens, under which grant and aid is given to implementing agencies for running and maintenance of senior citizen homes or old age homes for senior citizens. Further, the department has recently launched National Action Plan for the Welfare of Senior Citizens to enable them to lead a life of dignity. It includes programs for maintenance of old age homes, senior citizens home, multi-service daycare center for senior citizens through state government or the implementing agencies.
Well, that's it in this edition of Questionnaire. Me and Kriti sign off here, but keep watching Rajya Sabha TV for more national and international top stories.
And don't forget to take care and stay safe.